In our last two sessions, we discussed a letter from a man whose 8-year-old son, Mark, was avoiding school because of the unkind treatment he was receiving from his teacher, Miss Green. I suggested to the father that rather than confront the teacher, he might teach his son why his teacher was behaving as she was. Now, back to the writer of the letter. Now that you've taught Mark why his teacher acts like she does, you can teach him how to respond to her when she's unkind. Ask him to tell you some of the unkind things Miss Green says to him, and then help him with what he might say in return. You have experience that he simply doesn't have, and you have the benefit of real love principles that will be invaluable to him. Let's imagine, for example, that Mark has just given an incorrect answer in class, and Miss Green has said in a harsh tone, "How many times have I explained that to you?" That can be devastating to a child, but you can teach Mark something productive to say in return, something that can turn the situation around. He might say, for example, quote, "Miss Green, I apologize for not remembering the answer to that question. I probably wasn't paying attention. Could you teach me that again? And I'll try to listen better." You and he can come up with many scenarios you can practice with him that will help him gain confidence in working with her. You can also teach him other little things he can do that will help his relationship with her. Every day before he goes to school, remind him to simply say good morning to her. She's obviously an unpleasant woman. People who use getting and protecting behaviors always are. So people tend to avoid her, which makes her feel even more empty and alone. If he says something pleasant to her each day and looks at her, it sounds like a little thing, but she'll like it, even from a child. As she feels his attempts to reach out to her, she might just lash out at him a little less. She might even lash out at other children less. I've seen this happen with many people. As Mark does this, you'll be exposing him to the miraculous effects we often see when we try to love people instead of expecting them to treat us nicely, which works out so poorly. It's only natural that Mark would still have some fears about working with this angry and unhappy woman. Remember that what he really fears is the message she is loudly proclaiming with her behavior, the message that she doesn't love him. Her failure to love him, of course, is only a reflection of the lack of love in her own life, not a result of anything Mark did or did not do. But the "I don't love you" is still a frightening message for a young child to hear from someone as powerful as a teacher. That means that the most important thing you can do for Mark is to give him your love, your unconditional love. When he's certain of that, when he knows that you love him no matter what he does, the "I don't love you" message he might get from time to time from his teacher will have little effect. However, there are still some things you can do for your son to help him with his teacher, and we'll talk about those in our next session.